obviously a lot of people use melatonin for helping them
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally have not noticed it help me sleep at all. I'll get in a bit as to what I did find it helped me, but do you find most people it helps with, and when do you tend to use it?
Yes, I'd say it's probably 50-50. So remember, most of melatonin is made in the GI tract,
Hmm.
and very little melatonin is made in the pineal gland, but it's the melatonin in the pineal gland that really helps set the circadian rhythm. And so the actual taking of melatonin, like it doesn't work at all for me. I've taken
Yeah.
melatonin physiologically, we don't make very much melatonin out of the pineal gland. It's like 0.2 or,
Hmm.
0.3, but what we do take as supplements, they're generally 1 milligram up to 5 milligrams, and sometimes you can take it a lot higher. And so there is some debate, like maybe we're taking way too much, we're over melatoninizing ourselves. But I've tried everything. I've tried the 0.5 all the way up to
Hmm.
or
So
3,
no
and
effect for you though, really.
no effect for me. But melatonin production is not my problem. When I measure my melatonin, that's not what's it for me in sleep.
Is that a blood test that you're using?
It's not. It's a urine test. You
Okay.
catch there's great research that shows the melatonin that's produced turns into a metabolite that gets excreted in urine testing or in
Hmm.
urine, and so you pick it up on urine testing. And so you do it in
Okay.
the morning, so it'll catch your melatonin that's through the night and then store it in your bladder, and you urinate it out and catch it.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
I
mine's always fine. So I'm like, dang it.
yeah, it's like you almost want it to be bad because then it's like here's a problem I can fix and get better.
Right,
So it's
exactly.
almost like
Especially when I
annoying.
cross time zones. I've even, when I travel a lot for my job, and even then
Hmm.
people are like, "Oh, take melatonin, they help you acclimate." I'm like, "Nope, it doesn't work."
All right. Yeah,
Mhm.
unfortunately, it hasn't helped me for that. But what's interesting, I did notice helped is so for my GI issues, I tried a keto diet, and I'm
Mhm.
definitely not like a keto zealot or anything like that. And it makes it harder to get in a lot of calories, but it did help me from a GI standpoint. But I will say that I started getting acid reflux, and I've actually read a lot of people do keto to help acid reflux. But I've never had noticeable acid reflux in my life. And it started getting
Mhm.
to the point that it was pretty bad. And I didn't want to go on anything like omeprazole, especially long term. And then I just started reading about people using melatonin. And I had never heard of melatonin for GERD or anything like
Mhm.
that. But I read a few studies where people with acid reflux had roughly half the levels of melatonin in their blood compared to, I don't know if it was blood or saliva, but however they measured it, it was half the levels. And so I've been taking it now for about 3 weeks,
Mhm.
and no more reflux
That's
actually. So
amazing.
yeah, I don't know if you've ever used it for that or if
I
you've heard much about
haven't,
that.
but and I don't know the mechanism behind it. I don't know if they said that, but one of the reasons melatonin, much like serotonin, is made in the gut is that, like I said, it's a huge antioxidant for the gut, but it helps quite a bit with peristalsis and
Hmm.
moving things along. So it's entirely possible it's helping move things down and out faster, down into the intestines faster versus even giving it a moment to hang out and then worsen reflux because of the sphincter there. But I
Yeah,
don't know the actual if there's a sphincter mechanism that melatonin has. I don't know that.
yeah. I think when they compared it to omeprazole, they both had very similar efficacy, but the
Mm-hmm.
difference was it caused the sphincter to close more so. And the
Melatonin
way,
did.
yeah, then the
Okay.
omeprazole didn't have any effect on that.
Of course.
And so when they looked at acid levels in the esophagus, they were still high to some degree with people with omeprazole, but it was lowered throughout with, or no, sorry, I said it the opposite way. Omeprazole did lower the amount of acid, which is obviously how it works.
Right.
Um, but melatonin, I thought, was a better way to actually address the problem, which is that the
Mm-hmm.
sphincter wasn't closing. Because this
Right.
way, you're still digesting everything just as much. You're not losing that
Right.
acidity in the stomach. You're just
Right.
preventing it from getting it where it shouldn't be. So, uh,
Absolutely. Which
something
is
that's
what's interesting
rarely. Go ahead.
about omeprazole because like the mechanism of action, as you know, it's proton pump inhibitor, right? So it like lowers acid levels, but what they find is that it's not always that's not the problem. It's the problem that the sphincter won't close. So the normal
Hmm.
production of acid is coming up and really obviously irritating. And so it doesn't ever address the cause, is I guess my point. Not often. You want to
Right.
improve that sphincter tone so the door closes completely and then the acid can just stay in the stomach and do its job.
Right. And that's kind of going back to our first topic with the naturopathic versus like the traditional medicine. That's something that just annoys me because like I said, I'm heavily research based in my recommendations, and I'm like to be very scientific. But when I see something like that, and I see that I think I came across at least 3 studies showing melatonin compared to omeprazole and showing at
Mhm.
least similar effects. But
Mhm.
ask any traditional medical doctor, what do you do for acid reflux? I prescribe a PPI. And
Yeah.
I've never ever heard. I never even until like a couple weeks ago even really heard about this melatonin for GERD thing. It's just not.
Yeah.
I've never learned about it in school. It just wasn't brought up. And my thought is like, why? Why wouldn't anybody would probably rather take melatonin with
Yeah.
minimal side effects compared to a PPI, which we know for years and years and caused a lot of issues. So,
Lots of, yeah, a lot of issues with nutrients and minerals and vitamins, and for sure.